Everyone, stick with us for cert. Today we're going to be going over Novavax stock, and I did a video the other day and actually received a bunch of hate for it, even though Novavax is down over 80% from all-time highs, probably close to 90% at this point in time from all-time highs last year. You know, I get it, bag holders get angry, but I'm going to go over how options traders got screwed today, both long or short. And if you want to join our community, you can join our Discord and our options trading group on Facebook, and you can hit me up with my text number as well. But I want to kind of give you some feedback on kind of what I saw, because you know, people are for some reason very bullish on a stock down 90%, right? So let's dive into some of these options contracts. So if you're not aware, Novavax got the emergency FDA approval, and they ripped up, you know, everyone was telling me like, okay, you know, June 7th, you know, it's going to be a major catalyst. And it was a major catalyst. This thing ripped up from 47 to 59, right? And I actually made the video on the day that it was actually down 20%, which was last week, right? So it went down 20%. And yesterday it recovered a little bit, and then, you know, had the event. This thing topped out at 59. Now, the first thing that I want to point out during this whole thing in terms of the stock, right? The stock. This thing is trading, if you look here, look at how much volume is there. Like, there's practically none. Sure, 500,000 shares. So this thing was artificially propped up from the get-go. Almost no volume was traded in the after hours right here to push that high. When there's no volume, there's sure the bid ask very wide, low liquidity, pushed this up to 59. And you could have sold a ton of shares and got out. You know, if you bought the bottom here, 40, 45, sold at 59, you know, congratulations, you made it. But for the majority of people, they were either trading options or they've been bag holding this since, you know, basically the 300s, right? So if we zoom out here, you know, this hit 331, came down right now, it's trading at 50. And, you know, per my calculations here, we'll put a little calculator here. If you're trading at 331 and it's currently at $50, this is currently down 84% from all-time highs, right? 84%. So, I mean, but let's talk about the options. So a lot of people were trading options. Now, one thing that you're gonna find out here is you're like, hey, why am I getting screwed on options? And not just this week expiration, right? So this week expiration, you have in the money calls and puts. These things are down 50 to 60%. Same thing on the put side, call side, even though, you know, it's up 5% right now. Calls are down massive. And if we go into the next week, not just this week, next week, same thing, down 30 to 60%. Let's go into, let's say, July. Now, July, if you had time on these, you're probably about flat. You know, some are down, some are up. You know, kind of a wide bid-ask spread right in here. But let's just show you, like, if you were trading like, you know, June or this week expiration, you know, let's say you traded these 50s here. Let's dissect these 50s, right? So let's go into the 50 contracts. And we'll go into the chart, show you what this thing looks like. So these they actually got the 50 calls actually came back a little bit. I mean, when Novavax you can see here, was at 46. These were trading at 95 cents. These came up to almost $3 now. They are in the money, but they are teetering in the money as it's now $50 and some change, right? But if you held from yesterday or the day before, I mean, these things, I'm gonna zoom in on the chart down here. These things were trading up towards like 4 or 5. And then they opened this morning. Basically, they did open at like 4, but then they immediately just got crushed. So if you didn't sell immediate at open and you didn't time it right, you had a very small window to break even on these 50 calls. And it's just been downhill from there. And, you know, I got a lot of comments on my Twitter and on YouTube saying, oh yeah, you know, you called it wrong, stuff like that. When you're looking at options pricing, there's no way that I called it wrong when both calls or puts are down. And you're like, why is that the case, right? And for the people that are just new to this and haven't figured this out, this right down here, as you can see, there's an implied volatility. Implied volatility got crushed. So what happens when implied volatility gets crushed? The expectation's over. The event is over. Implied volatility goes up before an event, like FDA approvals, earnings, Fed, you name it. Any type of event for a certain company, implied volatility is going to move higher, and that's what I did. So if you buy implied volatility, if you buy the options contract when implied volatility is high and it opens up even just the same price or slightly higher, slightly lower, I mean, it is up 5%, which is an incredible amount, but it was completely offset by the amount of, if you look down here, how much implied volatility came down. Implied volatility got obliterated. I mean, it's down bad. It's down bad. So when that happens, you know, watch out. Unless you're having a big move, but it couldn't hold the big move. Novavax, it opened this morning. What price did it open here? It opened at 52. So it opened up $7 lower than what the overnight trading session did, was 59.38. So open that and immediately was just flush. And now we had a little bit of a V-shaped recovery and it's giving it up again. Let's look at another contract. Let's go to the put side. Let's go to the put side. Let's look at the 50 puts. Kind of show you the example here. See what these are trading at, because these are down bad too. Okay, the 50 puts. This is what it was trading at today. Before today, the 50 puts were, I mean, they were, let's see, were they in the money? They were in the money. Okay, the 50 put, yeah, because this closed at like 47, 48. So the 50 puts were actually in the money, right? So these were actually trading at $6 to $7 per contract, which is crazy. These things opened up today, major gap down. I mean, they opened up at 276 and they started to climb higher. They went up to 4, but even at the highest they were today, you still lost money. If you bought them at 6 or 7 and it didn't even get up to 5, you're losing $100 to $200 per contract. And now it's barely holding on to 50, so these are probably going to go up a little bit. But now that the event is over, you're going to have an easier time to make money. So because implied volatility is crushed, you have the opportunity to get in some good positions right now on Novavax. And honestly, I would trade it down. Let's go into the monthly expiration. Let's go into the next week expiration. And again, let's look at this 50 contract. Right now it's down 19%, right, for the 50 calls. So if you bought time on this, as you can see, if you bought time, you're gonna be okay. I mean, on the call side, it might be a little bit rough because this thing has been downtrending for a minute. But let's look at these 50 calls for next week expiration. So if you're not sure, and a lot of people probably bought this week expiration because the options were so expensive. Like before yesterday, you know, some of these stocks, I mean, these were trading at, let's go back here. You know, before we had this major 20% sell-off, the 50 calls, I mean, they were in the money by like $5-6 here last Thursday, right? And so they were trading at like 10-11 bucks. After you got the 20% drop here, these came down to, let's say, 250, and they started to make their way back up. But right before the event happened, these were trading, let's say, 5.50. 5.50 at open, you had a spike, and then it was just downhill from there. So if you didn't get out at open, you didn't make any money. And these are even trading at $4 now. They can't even get up. They can't even get up to 5, right? I mean, even though it's been going higher, they've been kind of flatlining here. So, you know, if you're going to trade these events, you know, definitely buy time and save yourself the headache, because the weeklies, I mean, the weeklies here are decimated. I mean, they're down 80-90%. So, and then what I found out, a lot of people try to put their net worth into making a quick buck, and they really believe in the FDA approvals, or they don't believe in the FDA approvals, and they bet on it going down. The gotcha moment is when implied volatility, even though the stock was 5% higher, smacked you. Even when the stock was up 7% higher, it still obliterated the calls because it couldn't keep up with the implied volatility crush. I mean, this was a premium seller's dream, right? And if you don't know what premium selling is, you should educate yourself on that. I have a lot of videos on it, because it's really going to help you understand both sides of the market, making money when premium is high, buying premium when it's low, and understanding where that is going to save you a ton of money in the markets. And now looking at Novavax even right now, I mean, it could have tested like that overnight session at 59. It would have put it over the 50-day moving average, but since it didn't, it opened up below 59. It opened up at 52. We haven't even tested this 50-day moving average. I mean, we got a ways to go. This downtrend is definitely confirmed. Bag holders are on this. I mean, it's a disaster. So do yourself a favor, educate yourself on how options work. Be careful and don't just keep throwing at it just because it's lower. All right. As always, stay safe, stay green. It's us versus herd.